I moved back home after my fiancé dumped me and ended up falling for a guy who fixes dryers in a NASA hoodie. It started with a sock to the face and ended with a spin cycle proposal. Hi Reddit, I'm Emma Hayes, 27, and 6 months ago I moved back to my hometown of Cedar Brook, Ohio, after my fiancé dumped me 3 weeks before our wedding. Now I'm living above my parents' struggling laundromat, folding strangers' socks for minimum wage, and wondering how my life became this. Until he started showing up. This isn't a romantic comedy, it's messier, sadder, and way more awkward. But maybe, just maybe, it's the story I needed. Let's get this out of the way. Yes, I live in an apartment that smells like fabric softener and regret. The Hayes family laundromat hasn't been updated since 1998, which means our most loyal customers are either college kids avoiding dorm laundry rooms or retirees who still use powdered detergent. My parents' helping out while you get back on your feet plan was supposed to last a month. 6 months later, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday, scrubbing mystery stains off hoodies and avoiding Instagram like it's a war crime. The worst part? Everyone in this town remembers me as the girl who left for Chicago with a diamond ring and a Pinterest wedding board. Now I'm the girl who dodges Mrs. Kowalski's pitying head tilts while she folds her late husband's flannel shirts. But last week, something changed. A guy, early 30s, dark hair, perpetually wearing a faded NASA hoodie, started coming in every Thursday at 6:15 p.m. He never talks, just nods, loads, washer number 7, and reads dog-eared sci-fi paperbacks for exactly 48 minutes. It happened during the Great Dryer incident of last Thursday. I was elbow-deep in lint trap hell when a single striped sock flew out of dryer number 4 and hit me square in the face. Cue NASA. Hoodie guy's first words to me. You've got a sock. He pointed at my hair, where the rogue garment had lodged itself like a deranged accessory. Mortified, I yanked it free. Thanks, I was going for a statement piece, he smirked. Avant-garde. Then he went back to his book. No name, no small talk. But when he left, I found a post-it stuck to washer number 7. Dryer number 4's belt is slipping. Fix it before it starts a fire. Jay. I don't know why I kept the note, or why I spent Friday watching YouTube tutorials on dryer repair, but when he came back this week, I blurted, "It's fixed." He paused halfway into his hoodie pocket. You actually did it? YouTube certified, I said, holding up my grease-stained hands. For the first time, he laughed. It was warm, disarming, and over too soon. Nice work, laundry girl. And just like that, I had a nickname. A terrible nickname, but still, progress. The NASA hoodie became a fixture every Thursday. Jay, I'd finally learned his initial from the post-it, never missed his 6:15 p.m. slot. But after 3 weeks of awkward small talk, your load's done, thanks, I cracked during a lull. So, NASA enthusiast or just The Martian fanboy? I gestured to his hoodie while pretending to fix a coin slot. He glanced down, tugging the frayed sleeve. Neither. It's complicated. Complicated like rocket science? A beat. Then, quietly, I wanted to be an astronaut. Got accepted to a pilot program. Then, panic attacks. He shrugged. Turns out wanting to float in space doesn't mean you're cool with being trapped in a metal tube hurtling toward it. I blinked. So the hoodie's like a reminder? A consolation prize, he said, shutting washer number 7 with a thud. But hey, at least I can fix a dryer now. Thanks for that. Before I could respond, Mrs. Kowalski marched in with a tower of quilts, and he vanished into his book. It happened on a rainy Tuesday. I'd stayed late to deep clean dryer number 4, still traumatized by the sock incident, and Jay lingered to finish a chapter. At 8:30 p.m., I flipped the open sign to closed. Doors jammed, Jay called from the entrance. He rattled the handle. Stuck! You're kidding! I shoved past him, shoulder-checking the rusty door. Nothing. Power's out on the block, too, he said, nodding to the dark street. 4 hours later, we were camped on a pile of lost and found sweaters, sharing a bag of Skittles from the vending machine. Jay confessed he'd moved to Cedar Brook after his pilot dream collapsed. I admitted I'd ghosted all my Chicago friends. Pathetic, right? I said, crunching a red Skittle. Nah. Survival mode's underrated. He tossed me the last green one. Also, you're kinda good at this. At what? Making hellish situations less hellish. The door magically unstuck at dawn. Neither of us mentioned how close we'd sat. The wedding invite arrived on a Thursday. Cream-colored cursive font, RSVP by June 1st. My ex, Drew, had circled, "Can't wait to celebrate with you," in glitter pen. Classy. But the kicker? Emma Hayes and guest scrawled on the envelope. "Who's the guest?" Mom asked, peering over my shoulder. "A hallucination?" Jay walked in mid-panic. I shoved the invite under a pile of towels. He noticed. "You okay? My ex is getting married to the barista he just worked with, and he thinks I have a +1. Jay studied me. "You want to go? To watch him marry someone else in my venue?" Hard pass. Then don't. He grabbed his laundry. Or go with someone better. He left without explaining, but the next week a post-it waited on washer number 7. Need a fake date? I own a tie. JJ's idea of a tie turned out to be a navy blue clip-on with tiny cartoon rocket ships. "It's ironic," he insisted when I raised an eyebrow. "Like wearing a kiss the cook apron when you burn toast." "It's adorable," I said, because it was. And because watching this 6'2" man fumble with a clip-on was weirdly endearing. He shoved it back into his backpack. "I bought it for my nephew's birthday party. He's into space. I'm into not choking on a noose." You know ties don't actually strangle you unless you're, like, a spy in a Bond movie, right? Panic attacks aren't logical, laundry girl. The nickname should have annoyed me. Instead, it felt like a secret handshake. Cedar Brook's idea of fancy is Senor Nacho's food truck, which sells $3 margaritas in solo cups. Our practice date was Jay's idea. If we're selling this, we need to not stare at the floor. We failed immediately. "So," I said, licking queso off my thumb, "what's your go-to first date fun fact?" "I can recite the periodic table backward," he said, deadpan. Liar. "Okay, fine, I've never eaten a strawberry." "What?" "Allergy. Mom said I'd die. Turns out I'm just mildly itchy, but the fear stuck." I snorted. My turn. "I still have my wisdom teeth. In a jar. Under my bed." "Why?" "In case I need to bribe a witch." We laughed so hard we got kicked out for disturbing the condiment station. Mom cornered me the next morning. "Who's the boy?" "Jay, he's helping me with the dryer." "The one who left this?" She held up a peanut butter protein bar wrapper from the Lost and Found. "He's not a raccoon. Mom. He's allergic to peanuts. I Googled his EpiPen brand." My stomach dropped. "Wait, how do you even know?" "I may have snooped through his backpack when he used the restroom." I gaped at her. "You stole his EpiPen?" "Borrowed! To photograph the label!" She beamed. "He's responsible. And single." I texted Jay later. "Sorry my mom cyberstalked your allergies." His reply. "Tell her I'm also allergic to passive-aggressive wedding invites." "See you Thursday." They showed up on a Tuesday. Drew, with his perfectly gelled hair, and her, Lila, the barista-turned-wife, clutching a duffel bag of wrinkled linens. My stomach dropped into the lint trap. "Emma!" Drew grinned like he hadn't ghosted me mid-cake tasting. "Lila's mom owns a B&B. We're in town to, support local businesses." Lila waved sheepishly. "Your Yelp reviews said you handle vintage fabrics?" I wanted to hurl a Tide Pod at them. Instead, Jay materialized beside me, NASA hoodie sleeves rolled up. "Vintage fabrics go in washer number 2. Gentle cycle. Cold water." He stared at Drew. "Hot water shrinks polyester and egos." Drew's smile faltered. "You work here too?" I fix things, Jay said, loading Lila's linens like they were radioactive. They left without small talk. Jay didn't ask questions, just handed me a Snickers from the vending machine. Eat this, rage fuel. The storm hit that night. Rain slammed the laundromat windows and the power flickered. Jay was rewiring a dryer when the first thunderclap boomed. He froze, knuckles white around a screwdriver. You good? I asked. Yep. His voice cracked. Another rumble, he dropped the screwdriver, stumbling into a folding table. Bathroom. I found him on the floor, back against the sink, knees to his chest. Jay, breathe. It's the noise. Hey, look at me. I crouched beside him, mimicking his post-it bluntness. Name 3 things you can see, he glared. Sink, your shoes, my dignity leaving orbit. 2 things you can hear. Rain, your voice. 1 thing you can... Lightning flashed. He flinched, grabbing my wrist. We sat there, his grip tight, until the storm passed. Later, he muttered, I hate this. The storms? Feeling broken? I handed him a Hershey's Kiss from my pocket. Broken things are my specialty. Mom's obsession hit a new low Friday morning. Have you seen my good scissors? She asked, rummaging through my apartment. Why would I froze. My wisdom teeth jar was gone. Confronting her was a nightmare. I read online that teeth hold emotional energy, she said, clutching the jar. I was going to cleanse them with sage. Mom. Fine. I thought if I lost them, you'd ask Jay to help search. Bonding activity. Jay, who'd walked in mid-heist, raised an eyebrow. I'm more of a dryer guy than a dentist, Mrs. H. Mom blushed. I'll rehome them, quietly. Keep the jar, Jay said. Might need to bribe a witch later. Lila showed up alone the next Thursday, clutching a to-go cup from Drew's old coffee shop. Jay froze mid-post-it scribble. You're still working here? Lila said, avoiding my glare. You're still engaged to a guy who proposed with a latte art heart? Jay shot back. Turns out they knew each other. Intimately. Not romantically. Lila's younger brother was Jay's best friend in flight school. He bailed on the program too, Jay said after she left. Married a yoga instructor. Now they sell kombucha in Portland. And you never told me? Didn't want you thinking I was Team Lila. He crumpled the post-it. For the record, Drew's still a tool. The laundromat's anniversary party was Mom's idea. Balloons, discount detergent cakes, and a spin-to-win wheel. Jay hung fairy lights over the dryers. You didn't have to do this, I said, adjusting his crooked rocket tie. Your mom promised me free socks for life. He paused. Also, I wanted to. The party was chaos, old regulars, Dad's off-key karaoke, Mom handing out my wisdom teeth as good luck charms. At midnight, Jay pulled me into the coin-op room. I need to say something, he said, the clatter of quarters muffling his voice. I didn't just stick around for the dryers. Obviously, you're here for Dad's karaoke. Emma. He stepped closer. I'm here because you make duct-taped appliances feel like a revolution. Then he kissed me. And for once, the world didn't feel like it was spinning off its axis. He showed up as we were cleaning. Emma, please, I miss us. There is no us. There's this. I gestured to the laundromat, to Jay refolding a tablecloth. Drew's voice cracked. You're really choosing this? Jay looked up. Careful, man. That this just donated 10% of tonight's profits to the food bank. What's your legacy? A pumpkin spice latte? Drew left. Jay handed me a rogue sock. Proof of life. I laughed. You're ridiculous. But you're stuck with me. Jay's dad showed up on a Tuesday wearing a suit that cost more than our entire coin-op revenue. He stood in the laundromat doorway like a corporate Moses, here to part the Red Sea of lint. James, he said, ignoring me, we need to talk. Jay dropped a wrench. No. Hear me out. I'm opening a regional aviation hub. I want you to run the logistics team. You left for 12 years. Now you want to team up? I backed toward the office, but Jay's dad cut me off. This place is failing. You really want to watch her lose it? He nodded at me. Jay's knuckles whitened. Get out. The notice came the next day. 30 days to settle unpaid property taxes or vacate. Mom burst into tears. Dad started stress-eating dryer sheets. My therapist, Dr. Luna, wasn't surprised. You've spent 6 months hiding in this place, folding other people's chaos. Why? It's safe. Is it? Or are you afraid if you leave, you'll have to finally unpack your own baggage? I glared at her, Fern. That's a cliché metaphor. And avoiding Drew's wedding by dating Jay isn't? Jay's dad returned. I'll pay the taxes. In exchange, James joins my company. Don't, I said. Jay stared at the eviction notice. What choice do we have? We fight. How? By selling socks as artisanal dust rags? That night, I found Jay on the roof, NASA hoodie hood up. I took the deal, he said. What? Why? Because you deserve to keep this place. Because I'm tired of running. I wanted to scream. Instead, I kissed him, desperate, angry, scared. He kissed back like it was a goodbye. Jay's lie unraveled at 2 a.m. in a flurry of PDFs. I'd stayed up Googling how to sue a toxic aviation CEO when I found the unsigned contract in his backpack. You didn't take your dad's deal, I said, storming into the laundromat, where Jay was stress-cleaning lint traps. He froze. I was going to tell you. When? After they bulldozed the place? He wanted me to convince you to sell, said he'd relocate the business. I told him to shove it. I blinked. But the eviction notice? I've been applying for grants, nonprofits that save small businesses, even messaged Fixer Upper. He shrugged. Figured if I couldn't fix this, I didn't deserve you. The TikTok hit 2 million views overnight. Mrs. Kowalski's 16-year-old granddaughter, Zoe, filmed Jay in his rocket tie fixing dryer number 4 while I folded sheets into origami swans. The caption, IRL Higa? This laundromat cures depression. Laundry cottagecore. Nostalgia magic. By noon, influencers arrived. Teens staged photo shoots in front of washer number 7. A grandma knitted sweaters in the corner for aesthetic. Mom sold my wisdom teeth as vintage curios, $20 a pop. This is insane, I whispered as Jay rang up a $200 load of artisanal wash and fold. Nah, it's just community, he said, grinning as Zoe livestreamed him reciting the periodic table backward. Drew's Revenge was a 1-star review, unprofessional. Owner is obsessed with socks. Also, I found a tooth in my laundry. The backlash was swift. Zoe's TikTok stans doxed him. Lila DM'd me. He lied. I'm calling off the wedding. Even Jay's dad emailed, tell James I'll invest. No strings. P.S. The tooth thing is genius marketing. But the real win? Mrs. Kowalski marching into Drew's coffee pop-up with a sign, my quilts, your lattes. Jay drove me to the airport at dawn. You sure about this? You promised, I said, clutching his NASA hoodie. We stood on the observation deck as a plane roared overhead. Jay's breath hitched, but he didn't flinch. I'm not ready to fly, but I'm done hiding. I kissed him, the wind whipping my hair into a chaos even dryer number 4 couldn't tame. We'll fix things, together. We rebranded as Spin Cycle Collective, part eco laundromat, part community space. Solar panels hummed on the roof, courtesy of Jay's dad's no-strings investment. Washer number 7 became a vintage experience, $10 per load, includes Polaroid photos. Mom's Wisdom Teeth Shrine now funded college scholarships. Even dryer number 4 got a plaque. Home of the sock herd round the world. At the grand reopening, Jay wore his rocket tie. I wore a dress made of repurposed lost and found scarves. Mrs. Kowalski cried into a quilt. This place saved us, she said. No, I said, nodding at Zoe's TikTok crew folding towels. You did. The surprise wedding was Zoe's. She married her girlfriend Maya between dryers number 2 and number 5. Bouquets of fabric softener sheets included. You're our mascots, Zoe said, shoving a bouquet into my hands. Now dance. Jay spun me through the laundromat, past Dad's DIY chandelier of tangled coat hangers. Remember when you hated this place? He murmured. Still do, but now it's our dumpster fire. The letter arrived on a Thursday. Jay stared at it for an hour before opening it. Dear James, your application to our engineering outreach program stood out. Your perspective on failure and that essay about duct taping a dryer belt resonated. We'd like you to mentor students in our Engineering for Earth initiative. No flights required. Just heart. He didn't speak, just handed me the letter, eyes bright. You're gonna crush it, I said. Only if you visit me. Bring socks. I found it taped to washer number 7, now preserved under glass. Emma, you turn spin cycles into second chances. Marry me? No pressure, but I already asked your mom. She said yes. Jay. The ring was a tiny silver astronaut helmet. I said yes. 6 months later, the laundromat hosts weekly STEM workshops. Jay's idea. Drew's coffee shop closed. Last I heard, he's selling alpaca socks online. My wisdom teeth donated to a science fair. First place. And we're still here. Still folding. Still fighting. Reddit, thanks for riding this laundry cart of chaos with me. Life's messy. Love's messier. But sometimes the spin cycle gives you exactly what you need, even if it's not what you planned. Wash on, friends.